Howdy, how's it going? Welcome back, and howdy if you're new. So today we're going to take a look at a pretty sweet cable that I am now using to power my ROG Ally, and I'm checking to see how much power it's pulling and stuff like that. I've used it on a number of devices now, like my iPad, different phones, different devices. Then I've always been curious, how much power are they actually drawing? So one of the things that I'd like to say first off is thank you CableCreation for sending this over. It's not a paid review or anything like that. They just sent me the product and would like me to review it. They also are the ones that sent me this lovely dock right here. It has been absolutely great. It's very feature packed and it's a pretty good price. Also, this cable, very good priced and very feature packed. So I think they give a lot of value in this atmosphere as far as cables and docks. So let's jump into the quirks and the features. So this one is the 3.3 foot. It will do up to 100 watts and you'll know exactly how much power you're pulling by looking at the LCD here. It's going to work with anything like a MacBook, an ROG Ally, Galaxy, Steam Deck, anything that's going to pull from a USB-C connection. Now, if you want to use this on something like an NVMe enclosure or something like that, you will notice a little bit of reduced speed, but it'll still even work for something like that. Now, this comes in handy right here. One of the things that I learned early on is that in order to do the 30-watt manual on the ROG Ally, you actually need more than a 30-watt charger. I know, it's probably, common knowledge and everyone is just like, duh. But there's people out there who don't know this. And even I was just a little bit confused when I first got it. So, for example, I use this CableCreation dock right here with the factory 65-watt power adapter thinking, well, I only need to do 30 watts. So, yeah, 65 watts should be plenty, right? No, you'll only be able to get 25 watts on the ROG Ally if you're using the 65-watt adapter, and I'm going to show you why. This ROG Ally through the USB-C cable at 30 watts is going to pull more than 30 watts. It's actually going to be pulling between 55 and 65 watts. So you've got to make sure that you have like a 100-watt power adapter, for example, plugged into a dock similar to this. Now, the ROG dock, they're able to get away with having that 65 watt because it's specifically geared towards that dock and it's allowing the proper power balance. However, this one just requires a little bit more because it's also doing a lot more. You've got more ports, you've got a memory card reader, you've got extra USB, so it's got a lot more work that it needs to do, including the Ethernet, by the way. So you've got to have more than what the Asus dock can put out, or the regular old Asus power adapter that comes with the ROG. So this comes in handy. You'll be able to know exactly if your 100-watt power adapter is giving you the juice. So we're going to turn it on 30-watt turbo or 30-watt manual, doesn't really matter, and we're going to run our benchmark. And we're going to show you how much power is this thing actually pulling out under a benchmark. Now that we're in the benchmark, you can see the real power draw. 64 watts, 66 watts. So of course, we're pulling more than a 65-watt power adapter could handle. So you want to make sure, if you want that 30-watt manual mode, you might not. You might be okay with 25 watts, and that's fine. But if you're playing something a little bit more intense, where you're going to need that extra power draw, just be sure you keep an eye on it with something like this. So, price-wise, these things come in very affordable. Right now I'm looking at it on Amazon for about 14 bucks for the 3.5 foot. However, there is a 15% off little coupon that you can check the box for underneath the price. Always look for those. Big way to save some money. I'll drop the link for that for sure. It's not an affiliate link. I'm not getting any money off of most of these links that I'm posting. So if there's something that I'm showing you that I'm doing a video on, it's because they sent it to me. They're not paying me to review it at the moment. So I don't really have an incentive for you to go out and go buy it. It would be cool because these are good products, but you don't have to go out and go buy these. Some people do use affiliate links, and I will venture into that eventually, But at the moment, I just don't have affiliate links set up. So any of the reviews that I've done are from my heart, from my experience. Do I recommend this product? And so on. Do I recommend this cable? Yes, if you're going to be using something that you need to keep an eye on the power draw, you want to know how well your battery backup is working, or your battery little travel units are doing, see how much power draw or battery draw it is. There's a lot of usefulness in these devices, and you can use your imagination. I'd say it's a pickup. For 14 bucks, snag one of these, add it to your collection, throw this in your bag with your Ally, throw this in your bag with your Steam Deck. If you're the type of person who's got one of those little battery backup devices or those little power bricks, this is going to be very useful. This 3.5 foot length cable is actually pretty handy with the way that I run my device on my table right here. So it doesn't take up too much room. And our benchmark is as shown, 3274 on the overall score. And then our CPU score, 9787, and our graphics score, 2930. By using something like this, you're going to be able to pull the full power out of this thing. I don't have any drawbacks. I haven't found any drawbacks with this cable, other than if you're going to use something like an NVMe enclosure, you will have a little bit of reduced speeds, but this is for measuring power. It's not for measuring, how many megabits per second can you get out of a dock, for example. You'll be able to get about 480 up to. So keep that in mind. If you're planning on using this as your only cable to transfer data, then you might see a little slower speed. But if you're using it as your dedicated power cable, you won't see any issues there at all that I've noticed. So I think this is going to give you the exact same amount of power as your normal cables would, except this way you're able to keep an eye on that power draw, and that's a big plus in my opinion. So moving forward, I'm trying my hardest to get some of these videos out faster to you guys, but currently I'm changing my setup a little bit. I know my mic sounds a little different now because I actually had to redo Windows on my main machine, and I haven't got all my software fully dialed in and fully set up. Now, a lot of you are going to ask, well, why is it so dim? Well, that's actually a feature, not a bug. If it was any brighter, it probably would draw more power than it needs, and it would probably become a little bit of a little power hog if it was brighter. Currently, I don't think it's even drawing a watt, if that. I think it's drawing very little power, if that. I would love to have the numbers on that, but I just don't have a way to measure that. I think this is an amazing, amazing device. Other than that, I brought it to you straight, clear, and to the point. It's a cool product. I would love for everyone to see. I think this deserved a review so people could see it and see that this type of thing exists. Now, since you've stayed tuned to the end, I'm going to show you this abomination. This abomination right here is missing 2 screws, and don't pay attention to that. You didn't see that. This is a 3D printed shroud. This is a Noctua 90mm fan underneath it. And yes, I did cut a huge gaping hole in my ROG Ally for no reason. It didn't need it. Of course it didn't need it, A lot of things you don't need in life, but you may want them. As you know, I have talked about numerous times the SD card issues that plagued the ROG Ally, and why they happened in the beginning, I was right on. Many people wanted to argue, many people wanted to scream, threaten, shout, and it became maddening. So I kind of stopped talking about it. I don't want that to happen to my device. I'd like to keep my device forever. So I ruined my Ally because I plan on keeping it forever. So I probably voided the warranty, at least with this backplate. But what I did is I installed a sort of forced air cooler, if you will. This air traveling over the board is actually cooling off the power delivery. The power delivery area and this heat pipe up here in combo are keeping the temps way hotter without this fan. So without this fan, those temps can exceed 70 degrees Celsius, and the temperature limit on the chipset for the SD card reader is 70 degrees. Now you would say, well, that doesn't matter. My unit never gets over 70 degrees anyways, and most of yours do. I'm just saying as an example, if you did say you game at 5 watts and you never get over 70 degrees. It doesn't matter. Power delivery is still balancing a power load, and the phases and the VRMs and the MOSFETs and all that good stuff, they still get hot. Even at 30 watts, manual with all the fans turned up, versus, I don't know, 15 watts turbo or manual, it doesn't really matter. Your temperatures are the temperatures, and the APU temperatures may not be what you're seeing on the board for the power delivery, because the APU temperatures aren't indicative of the MOSFETs and the VRMs. Those are totally not monitored. We have no way of knowing what those temperatures are. However, I have used one of these, and this right here is a thermocoupler. This is a device that you may have seen on other big tech channels like Gamers Nexus and other people who dive deep into the analysis of what temperatures are in places that you might not can monitor them very easily. This is going to help you with that. What I was able to do is stick a probe, if this will focus. I was able to stick a probe in between the thermal pad and the VRMs and the MOSFETs and the chokes and all that good stuff. All the different spots on the power delivery system that I was able to get, I was able to measure with this right here. So there's actually a thermal pad in between your power delivery and the fan housing. So it's taking away heat from the power delivery and allowing it to be cooled by that fan housing. Now, where this comes into play, half of the power delivery system doesn't have a thermal pad over it. Now, we could add it with a heat, adding like either a heat pipe or some type of metal that we could put a thermal pad in between, but there's really no way to stick it. There's really no way to bond it to the board unless we use some thermal glue or something like that. So this fan was able to keep the power delivery system a lot cooler and keep those temps down, therefore keeping the board temperatures down, and therefore keeping the SD card reader and the chipset for it down. So I know I've rambled on about temperatures being down, but also it's kept my APU temperatures down as well. It's also kept my NVMe temperatures down as well. So this is cooling 1, 2, 3 different areas on the board that, in my opinion, should be kept cooler than what they are. Does it run fine without it? Yes, of course. Does a car run fine without a radiator? Yes, of course. But for how long? You see where I'm getting at. You could run this essentially forever. You might not. I don't know. It's unknown. We haven't had this device around long enough to really know, but I know in my experience, based upon other devices that have seen similar temps on MOSFETs, similar temps on memory cards, similar temps on NVMe drives, similar temps on the APU, for example, I know what happens. You may know what happens, or you may not, or you may think you know, and you'll leave it in the comments and call me an idiot, and that's cool. I have no problem with that, but I like to play it safe. I like to think outside of the box. I like to color outside of the lines, and I like to destroy my devices by putting unnecessary fans on it. So if you like little weird stuff like this, you like to know all the nitty-gritty details, you like the mods, you like weird stuff like this, I would appreciate the subscribe or the like or the comment. Just let me know below what you like, and I'll try to do more of it. Let's do what we do. Keep modding, folks, and don't be scared. Don't be scared to mod your device. If you're not handy and you're not technical enough, that's fine. Don't admit defeat just yet. We can help you out. That's what our Discord's for. If you want to jump in the Discord and hang out with some cool people, hang out with me. I do some game streaming on the weekends and random days where I'll stream Modern Warfare in the Discord, and I'll do Q&A or just chit chat and stuff like that. And also you'll get notified of upcoming projects, videos, and you'll be able to see what I'm working on. So if you like seeing weird, funky, odd, pointless mods, or you like seeing cool stuff like my NVMe mod that is cooling tons of people's drives now. I've had so many people do these mods. I'm just dropping things all over the place. So if you like seeing cool stuff like that, please come on by, drop on by the Discord, and let's hang out and talk. So stay tuned, folks. I got more stuff coming. We got something else we're going to talk about right here on the next one. I'm going to start filming that this week. I've already started tinkering around and playing around with it, and we're going to show you why this is very cool and very important. But for this one, we showed you why this was very cool and very important. So with that, I hope all of y'all have a good afternoon, good evening, or good night.